Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So this is the long-awaited custody breakdown, the case documentation of the custody battle that is gearing up between Will and Marissa. And I had promised this a few days ago. I ran into, I wouldn't say a problem, but it was the editing. My God. Now I really see, or I have an appreciation for people who do high quality editing because it's a beast. The source that I was working with that I created, it was under 20 minutes, but I had to chop it up like a fine tooth comb. And just when I thought I had either bleeped or cut out what I did not want to put out to you guys, I would do a re-listen and bam, I would miss something. And I got to the point of burnout where I have listened to this audio probably 20 times. And I just, like I said, I'm a perfectionist. And I just want to make sure that I wasn't putting in any information or leaving in any information that I wasn't comfortable with. So what I did was I used AI software as my quote-unquote legal consultant, and I had them break down the actual official documents. You won't see the actual official documents here, but it does a pretty good job of breaking it down and giving you basically what the documents say. And it explains Will's case. It will appear to some people that it's one-sided, that this is in support of Will, but I can only put in what I have. We haven't heard Marissa's response outside of the many videos that she has done, the disastrous videos that she has done. And so they are interpreting it strictly from the documentation. There is a little bit of pushback that the commentators do, but their main thing is they're just looking at the facts and they're putting it into perspective. Now, as a disclaimer, I will say this is pretty accurate. This is a pretty accurate representation of the documents. Is it like an official legal document that, somebody could take to court? No, I don't think so. And if somebody isn't a qualified attorney that has more information, or a paralegal, or somebody who works in this realm wants to make a correction, please feel free to do so in the comments. Also, if you do know the identifying information, please don't drop it in the comments. I just would appreciate that. I do know that according to Allie, I did do a live in regards to the documents. I missed it, so I don't know what was said and what was not said. I know it looks like she either privated or deleted it. I'm kind of salty that I missed it, but hey, YouTube has not been sending out notifications. I've not got notifications for none of the people that I have the bail, I have my bail notifications on for. So yeah, I'm not going to talk too much longer. I'm going to go ahead and jump into the material. Then at the end, I'll have some commentary and you guys tell me what you think in the comments. And what do you think should be the next step for Will and for Marissa?
Exactly in his checking account. But to win the legal right to see his 1-month-old son, he was forced to map out the next 18 years of that boy's life, down to the exact mile he was allowed to drive, and a strict 20-minute grace period for showing up to meet him.
Right. And the contrast there between the, raw, messy reality of this family's financial situation and the hyper-specific, almost robotic precision the court demands from them, it's just striking.
Oh, yeah.
It reveals the absolute lengths a citizen has to go to just to be recognized as a parent under the law.
Welcome to today's deep dive. We are looking at a huge stack of Fulton County, Georgia court documents from a case filed on April 9, 2026.
Yeah,
Exactly. And our mission today is to translate this daunting mountain of bureaucratic paperwork into the deeply human story it actually represents. We're going to walk through the step-by-step legal process of an unmarried father fighting for the legal right to just be in his child's life.
And we have an incredibly detailed cross-section of sources to break down for this. We are looking at a case initiation form, an affidavit of indigency, a petition for legitimation and custody.
Which is a mouthful.
Right, definitely. Plus, a consent parenting plan, a summons, and an automatic domestic standing order. So this isn't a theoretical discussion, It is a literal page-by-page snapshot of a real family entering the justice system.
So whether you are facing a family court process yourself right now, or you're just wildly curious about how the justice system actually works behind the scenes, this deep dive is going to show you exactly what happens when someone files a lawsuit to become a legally recognized parent.
Yeah, the nuts and bolts of it.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because looking at these unorganized legal forms is a lot like looking at the architectural blueprints for a massive skyscraper.
Right.
If you don't know how to read the blueprints, it just looks like a chaotic web of dry, boring lines. But those lines dictate exactly where the load-bearing walls need to go so the entire structure doesn't collapse when the family comes under pressure.
That's a great way to look at it.
So our job today is to show you how that foundation is poured.
Right, and building that foundation requires getting onto the construction site in the first place. I mean, the justice system is not a free public park.
Not at all.
It costs money just to file the initial paperwork, pay the clerk, and pay the sheriff to actually serve the lawsuit. Before any legal arguments about custody can even be whispered in a courtroom, a person has to pay the literal cost of admission.
And the barrier to entry is the very first hurdle we see in this case file. It introduces us to the plaintiff, W.N. He is trying to file a lawsuit against the mother of his child, Marissa Jones. But he can't afford the filing fees.
Right.
So instead of a lawsuit, the very first piece of paper he submits is an affidavit of indigency, which is essentially a formal declaration of poverty. And this document forces him to lay his entire financial life bare under penalty of perjury.
Yeah, the system requires an incredibly invasive level of disclosure to bypass those fees. The court demands to see the underlying math of his survival. He works at a Panera Bread in Atlanta.
Okay.
He financially supports 5 dependents, 4 older children, and a brand new baby. His gross monthly income is listed.
Wow. And then the form forces him to detail where every single dollar goes. Like he lists his rent at his car payment for a 2026 Chevy.
Just steep.
Very. And he pays dollars in child support. If you just take those 3 expenses alone, he is already that leaves him with bare bucks for the entire month to cover everything else.
Yeah, and the court doesn't let him stop there.
Right.
He has to disclose his grocery bill, for utilities, for a cell phone, for cable.
Oh my gosh.
By the time he finishes itemizing his life, he is deeply in the red. And the form requires him to state exactly how much liquid capital he has access to on the very day he is submitting this paperwork.
Right.
He writes down in savings.
I mean, I really have to push back on the sheer intensity of this form. It feels like
He's just by checking a box that says, hey, I'm broke, the courts would be completely paralyzed by meritless filings.
I see.
So the invasive nature of the form is the filter. The court is saying, we will open the doors for you for free, but you have to prove mathematically and under oath that you literally have no other option.
Yeah. And he provides more than just the math, too. There is a section on the form for special circumstances. Handwrites a note. I'm reading it exactly as he wrote it. I am barely getting by. I was homeless 3 years ago. I'm struggling getting back on my feet. I just want to provide for my children and do the best for them.
Wow. Yeah, the math proves the indigency, but the handwritten note establishes the profound stakes of the case.
Definitely.
And the judge reviewing this, Judge Thomas A. Cox, Jr., looked at the balance, the expenses, and the plea, and he signed an order granting forma pauperis.
Nice.
The judge determined that had a viable legal claim and had sufficiently proven his inability to pay. So the order waived all court filing fees and sheriff service fees, effectively opening the courthouse doors so the actual lawsuit could begin.
So now that he has financially cleared the entrance, we finally get to look at the actual problem he is trying to solve.
Right.
The next document is his official lawsuit. It's titled A Petition for Legitimation and Custody Visitation. And we learn the child involved is a baby boy named Wisdom. Based on the 2026 birth year and the April filing date, baby Wisdom is only about a month old.
Yeah, he's tiny.
Yeah.
And the title of that petition tells us everything about the legal hurdle unmarried fathers face. Is asking the court to legitimate his relationship with the child.
Okay.
He wants a court order establishing that he and the child can inherit from each other as if the child had been born in wedlock.
Yeah.
He also formally requests to change the baby's last name on the birth certificate from Jones.
Let me stop you right there, because this is where the legal logic often trips people up.
Sure.
If he's the biological father, and he knows he's the biological father, why does he need a judge to legitimate him? I mean, doesn't signing the birth certificate at the hospital automatically give you the rights of a parent?
You'd think so, but no. If we connect this to the bigger picture, We hit a massive misconception about family law, particularly in states like Georgia. Being biologically related to a child, or even having your name on a birth certificate, does not automatically grant you legally enforceable rights to custody or visitation if you are not married to the mother.
Wait, seriously, so an unmarried guy could be on the birth certificate, but the mother could just legally refuse to let him see the child?
Yes,
Does he still have to pay child support if he has no rights?
absolutely.
Right.
Biology and birth certificates establish financial liability. The state has a vested interest in making sure both parents financially support a child so the state doesn't have to step in.
Right.
So yes, an unmarried father can be sued for child support based on biology alone. But custody is a completely separate legal concept. Until an unmarried father proactively files a lawsuit and gets a judge to sign an order of legitimation, the mother retains 100% sole legal and physical custody.
Oh, wow.
The father has absolutely no say in where the child lives, what medical care they receive, or when he gets to see them.
Okay, so biological fatherhood is basically a ticket to an exclusive venue. You know you belong there and you paid for the ticket.
Right.
But legal legitimation is the actual security clearance required to walk inside the building. Without that judge's signature, you are just standing on the sidewalk holding a ticket, entirely dependent on the mother's permission to look through the window.
Exactly. The security clearance is exactly what he is fighting for here. And interestingly, he notes in his petition that he intends to provide health insurance for the baby, but he checks a box indicating that the mother, Marissa Jones, is the one who has the income capability to pay child support to him.
Wait, really?
Yeah. He is setting the stage to argue that he should be the primary, or at least an equal, caretaker.
Okay, so assuming the judge grants him that legal security clearance, how does the court actually dictate the day-to-day reality of raising this child?
Right.
That brings us to the most massive and granular document in the consent parenting plan.
Oh, yeah. The parenting plan is the operational blueprint for the child's life. It takes the abstract concept of custody and translates it into a rigid, enforceable schedule.
Yeah.
Is proposing joint legal and joint physical custody.
Here's where it gets really interesting because the level of detail is staggering. We are talking about a 1-month-old infant, and the proposed schedule maps out his time with military precision.
It really does.
It's like the plan dictates that the father gets the child for 2 full weeks every single month, specifically the 2nd and 4th weeks from Monday to Sunday.
Right, and the schedule meticulously carves up the entire calendar year. It isn't just about alternating weeks. It states the mother gets the child for all fall and spring vacations.
Right.
The father gets the entire summer vacation.
Right.
Then it isolates every single major holiday: Martin Luther King Day, Memorial Day, Halloween, Mother's Day, Father's Day, the child's birthday. It dictates exactly who gets the child on odd-numbered years, like 2027, and who gets them on even-numbered years, like 2028.
It's wild. It even dictates the logistics of how these two adults physically hand the baby over to each other. It explicitly states that all exchanges must happen in a public setting.
Yeah.
But the detail that really caught my eye is the strict 20-minute grace period. The document states that if a parent is more than 20 minutes late to pick up the child and hasn't provided prior notification of an unavoidable delay, they automatically forfeit their entire parenting time for that period.
Right.
I mean, I have to challenge this. We were talking about Atlanta, where traffic is notoriously unpredictable. Isn't a 20-minute window incredibly punitive? Like, why would a judge want a parent to lose out on seeing their kid over a traffic jam?
Well, this raises an important question about the psychology of family court.
Yeah.
It is really easy to view that 20-minute rule as cold or overly punitive.
Yeah.
But the court's priority isn't flexibility. It is the prevention of conflict. High-emotion co-parenting situations are absolute breeding grounds for manipulation and spite.
Oh, for sure.
If there is no strict deadline, one parent might intentionally show up an hour late every single week just to aggravate the other, leading to arguments in a public parking lot in front of a child.
Oh, I see.
By drawing a hard, non-negotiable line at 20 minutes, the court removes the emotional guesswork. You aren't arguing with your ex about whether their excuse is valid. You are simply pointing to the binding corporate contract you both signed. It lowers the temperature by taking the dispute out of their hands.
That makes a lot of sense. It functions like a domestic peace treaty.
Exactly.
They are attempting to map out the next 18 years of a baby's life to prevent a war. Just look at the relocation rules embedded in this plan. It says if either parent wants to move more than 10 miles away, they have to give 30 days written notice.
Yep.
And if one of them moves out of state entirely, the plan mandates that the parent who moved must pay the full cost of transportation gas, plane tickets, or train fare just to keep the scheduled visitations happening.
The state recognizes that a sudden move is one of the most destabilizing events for a co-parenting arrangement.
Yeah, that would be chaotic.
The financial penalty of paying for the flights ensures that neither parent can unilaterally sabotage the other's relationship with the child just by packing a moving truck. The plan even includes a mandatory conflict resolution clause.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it states that before these parents are ever allowed to drag each other back into a courtroom over a disagreement, they must first attempt mediation, consult with the child specialist, or use documented effective communication.
Okay, so he has filed the lawsuit. He proved his indigency to get his fees waived, and he has submitted this hyper-detailed 18-year peace treaty for the court to review. But the justice system moves slowly.
Painfully slow sometimes.
Right. Lawsuits take months, sometimes years to resolve. You can't just hit pause on a family while you wait for a trial. How does the system handle the chaotic gray area between the day the lawsuit is filed and the day the judge finally makes a ruling?
The system deploys an immediate, blunt force tool called an automatic domestic standing order. In this specific case, the document is signed by Chief Judge Ural Glanville. The absolute second a family law case is filed and stamped by the clerk in Fulton County, this standing order drops over both the mother and the father like a massive invisible restraining net.
And the restrictions in this order are intense. It legally prohibits either party from removing the child from the state of Georgia. They are forbidden from doing any act that injures, maltreats, vilifies, or harasses the other party.
And the financial restrictions are just as severe. They cannot sell, hide, or transfer any property.
Right.
They cannot change or cancel any life, health, or auto insurance policies.
Right.
They are explicitly banned from disconnecting the water, gas, electricity, or any other utility services from the marital residence.
I mean, are people really petty enough to shut off the water to a house where their ex and their baby are living?
Oh, absolutely.
It reads like the court has seen every spiteful, vindictive thing a human being has ever done during a breakup and just wrote a blanket mandate saying, don't even think about it.
Yeah, the court assumes the absolute worst of human nature under stress, because family court judges see the absolute worst every single day.
Wow.
When the foundational structure of a family is threatened, people operate out of fear, panic, and anger. A parent might try to drain a joint savings account to secure their own housing, or flee across state lines with the baby because they are terrified of losing custody.
Right.
They might cancel their ex's health insurance purely out of spite. The automatic standing order preempts all of that chaos by freezing the status quo.
That makes total sense.
If you violate any of those rules, you are instantly in contempt of court, which carries the very real threat of heavy fines or immediate jail time.
And to ensure they understand the gravity of the situation, the order also legally requires both parents to attend a specific seminar called Centers for Navigating Family Change. The court basically forces them into a classroom to get educated on the psychological impacts of separation on a child. And concurrently, the clerk issues a formal summons to the mother, Marissa Jones. This document gives her exactly 30 days to log on to the state's electronic filing system and submit her official legal answer to the petition.
Yeah, the court takes immediate control of the timeline. The final document in this intake stack is a notice of a 30-day status conference.
Okay.
The court isn't going to let this family drift in the wind for a year. A hearing is already locked into the calendar for May 11, 2026 at 1:30 p.m.
Oh, wow. That's fast.
It will be held via Zoom video conferencing, and it will be overseen by a completely different judge, Judge Charles M. Eaton, Jr. He'll check in to see if they have followed the standing order and attempt to move them toward a resolution.
It's like the automatic standing order is fundamentally the fasten seatbelt sign violently illuminating during a turbulent flight.
Yes, perfect analogy.
The court is coming over the loudspeaker and saying, nobody make any sudden movements, stay exactly where you are, don't touch the bank accounts, and do not leave the state until we can get everyone sorted out on a Zoom call in 30 days.
The system recognizes that the period immediately following a legal filing is the most volatile. The standing order is the court stepping in as the ultimate authority to maintain the peace and protect the most vulnerable person in the entire equation, the one-month-old baby, while the adults figure out how to untangle their lives.
It is just an incredible journey when you step back and view the entire blueprint.
It really is.
We started with a man working at Panera Bread, checking account, having to lay his past struggles with homelessness on the public record just to secure his constitutional right to enter a courthouse.
Yeah.
We decoded his legal petition to be recognized as a legitimate father rather than just a biological financial liability. We explored the incredibly granular military-style peace treaty of his proposed parenting plan that schedules out the next 2 decades of odd and even holidays.
Right. And we saw the immediate heavy guardrails the court dropped over the entire family to freeze them in place until they can get in front of a judge.
Every single one of those seemingly dry, black and white forms represents a critical, high-stakes maneuver in a deeply emotional human conflict.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? I think it is a powerful reminder that the law isn't just about punishing criminals or settling million-dollar corporate disputes.
No, not at all.
In family court, the law is simply a structural tool. It is a tool utilized by everyday people to map out a safe, predictable, and legally enforceable future for a vulnerable infant who can't speak for themselves.
Yeah, it is the state stepping in to mandate stability and routine in an environment where the personal relationship has entirely failed to provide it.
Which brings up a final provocative thought to leave you with, especially when considering the sheer detail of that consent parenting plan. The court forces separated or unmarried parents to sit down and map out their next 18 years down to the absolute letter.
They are legally bound to agree on how to communicate, who pays for what travel, who gets the child on a random Tuesday, and they must adhere to 20-minute grace periods for being late.
It's intense.
It is. And think about how much daily petty conflict that kind of explicit boundary setting actually prevents. It makes you wonder, what if all parents, even the happily married ones, were required by law to explicitly agree on these logistical rules before they were allowed to have a baby, rather than only doing it when a relationship fractures?
That's a wild thought.
Right. Like, would setting those rigid boundaries up front prevent conflict from ever starting? Or would treating a romantic relationship like a binding corporate contract just create the conflict sooner? Just something to think about the next time you see a stack of bureaucratic...
Okay, so now you've had a chance to listen to what's being said. And again, I'm putting this out. The main reason I'm putting it out is not for the click or the view or because I dislike either one of these people. I only know them from the internet. But because we are watching this train wreck, and I hate that I'm even calling it a custody battle, which is something very serious, a train wreck. It is, because I think we can all agree that they are hashing this out on social media. And just a note, if you're not familiar, check out Pineapples. It's Pineapple spelled, I believe, with 3 Z's. If you're not familiar with Pineapple's channel, of course, go check her out. And also, according to Allie, they have a lot of background information regarding this. But it kind of gives you the layout of what's really going on. Will, how he acts here on the internet, he likes to throw rocks and hide his hands. And when I say that, I mean he'll do a live and then he'll delete it. Okay, he'll make posts and then he'll delete them. Marissa does the same thing, and she currently posted a video earlier today, and she squoze, is that a word? She was able to squeeze out about 3 or 4 tears regarding her living situation. But I believe since Allie came out and let the chopper sing, she's in her feelings. And I believe that Will probably dug in her one more time, and not the way she wanted to, not the medicine. And she just is she don't know how to clap back. She's hinting that she's doing something behind the scenes. It's nothing regarding Will, unless she's going to get up tomorrow and file an answer. I don't know if she's been served. I do believe that there was an attempt to serve her, but I don't think that she's trying to get served. And I find that kind of ironic, since she was chasing down Momo's dad, going to the point where she was reaching out to his grown kids and, trying to coerce them into locating their father so she can serve him with child support. So again, this is a mess. I just want to clear the air because you're going to hear different things from her. You're going to hear different things from him, and you're going to hear different things from content creators who are watching this. And I want you to at least have some information to refer back to. So I hope that this is that this served its purpose. Let me know in the comments what you think overall about this situation, and we'll see how it unfolds. And until the next time I upload, have a great day. Talk to you guys later. Bye now.